free up some more room back here, that plate and everything's going to go away. But I've decided that right about there is where I want the spare tire to mount. Now keep in mind, I do understand that this is a get you to the tire shop kind of a spare. But it's still nice to have a spare on. Now I measured my truck from the ball hitch to the very outside, actually beyond the bumper. And as wide as about half of it is about 41 inches. So from the ball hitch, about clear past the truck is 41 inches. And we have about 43 inches from that ball hitch right there to the start of the tire. So it really shouldn't get in the way of anything. It's actually in line with the trailer. It's mounted low. I shouldn't hit it coming off the deck if something sticks over. And quite frankly, I'd have to have already hit my bumper against the side of the trailer before I'd ever come in contact with the tire. So that's stuff to keep in mind when you're doing this stuff. I have a much better chance of hitting this hitch, or excuse me, the jack with the truck than I do this tire. So that's where I think it's going to go. Alright. Oh, one other thing. I found out that one of my grinding discs for my 7-inch grinder is the perfect size to fit right there and hold this thing on. So that's how I think I'm going to do it. Alright, nothing to it but to do it. I already marked my plate, and now I'm going to try and cut a hole. Cut it out. Yeehaw. So here's what I'm contemplating. I got a bracket welded on here. As you can see, there's 2 plates there. So that's why I can unbolt and bolt it if I absolutely have to, in case I screwed this all up and this is completely in the way. About the only thing that's going to be left of it is this little plate here. But I could either use some of this 3-inch channel and weld it there, kind of like that. Oops, sorry. Kind of like such. To give me my my angle. So I actually marked this completely backwards. I'm glad I held this up here because that's completely wrong. And then I'll weld a plate to it, and then you'll see the rest from there. Or I got some of this 1-inch box tubing, which is probably more than enough I need for the job. However, this here thing is doesn't look very beefy. You know what I mean? It doesn't match the overall. I mean, that's like 3/8 plate. And this is only 1 inch by, probably 125 wall box tubing. Whereas this C channel is just a little bit more stout. Let me think on this for a little bit. Alright, I'll get back to you when I come up with a solution. Here's a little tip for you. If you're going to weld a nut on the back side of a plate so it's fixed, like you don't want to put a wrench back on it, you don't have to weld the thing solid. All you're really trying to do is keep it from turning. As long as the nut won't spin, you're good. Because once you draw that tight, it's going to pull tight against the back of that plate. Welding it solid to the plate will not add any extra strength. And at the same fact, it might actually warp the nut, in which case the bolt you put in to hold the nut straight may never come back out again. Just a little food for thought. I do have a plan for over here. It's a gorgeous day out, by the way. 66 degrees in January. I'll take it. But there is a plan for over here. We're going to use use the frame of the trailer to hold the tire back. And this is an old pulley off a small block Chevy that just so happens to fit the center of that there tire. Wheel. Whatever. Alright, I'll show you what I got in a little bit. Well, sorry I forgot to film it, guys, but I got kind of upset with myself. There's a rule in welding is you tack it up till you're sure it's right and then you weld it solid. Well, I welded something solid and then found out it wasn't right. But here's version 2.0. I wanted it originally so, and I'm apologizing for all the brightness. Here, let me move over here. So that what you did was you lowered the jack down the whole way and it put the tire on the ground and then you pulled the tire off. But what ended up happening is you lowered the jack the whole way with the trailer sitting up. The tire was hanging about halfway below the frame, which really cut down on the amount of clearance we had back here. So, but the tire was kind of heavy to be picking it up on and trying to screw my through bolt in based off my pulley over there. So this is what I come up with version 2.0. See, what I was trying to do, sorry about this, was have the tire push like back against the frame of the trailer. And that would, as I drew the center collar in, it would push the tire into the trailer and that's how it would hold tight. There's two problems with that. Number one is of course the clearance issue. Number two is the only thing holding the tire to the trailer was this here. And every time that would bounce, it would put stress and strain on this and the nut. So I was trying to figure out how to keep things horizontal, like if I welded another piece onto here, my trailer, or stacked it up, or built a T, and whatnot else, but I kept thinking about making it level like this, and then finally it occurred to me, I says, well, why not go vertical? So that's what I did. So this top part pushes against the top back of the tire, and the top back of the tire, and the bottom back of the tire sits up in here against this. Now I welded this step on, and I know part of what you're thinking is if you go under here, as you can see, it just welded to that plate. So yeah, hindsight, I would have probably dropped that plate down too and added some rigidity to it, but more or less that whole tire probably weighs, if it weighs 75 pounds, it weighs 1,000,000. And, you know, sorry, I can stand on it. I bumped the button. I can stand on it, and it doesn't, it flexes maybe just a little bit, and I'm easy 215 pounds. So, I don't think the tire is going to be an issue. But you can see here, I had welded it solid. Now I got all these little dimples, but I don't feel like going back and remaking this bracket, and that's going to be behind the tire anyway. So that's kind of where it is. And I still wanted it to be bolt on, just in case something was to happen. And like, let's say I was sticking something out over the deck here, and this was in the way. Then I could just unbolt it there, take the whole thing off. The only thing that'll be here is the paint, the plate that's now primered and on here. This would be the only thing, and that doesn't take up any room at all. But and the reason there's this angle on here is because this is actually a piece that I cut wrong one time. But I think the angle, I might round these edges off a little bit with a grinder some, just so that nobody impales themselves. But the moral of it is there's going to be a tire here anyway, so you'd have to take the tire off and then impale yourself. Alright, let's finish this up. I'm tired of working on this tire carrier mount. I want to add my last brackets, get this thing kicked out of the garage. Go. So, did it work? Was it worth it? And would I do it again for the trailer mods? Absolutely. This was by far some of the best things I've ever done to this trailer, actually done to this point. I put this right up with the tractor. But anyway, the D-rings hold up beautifully. I've anchored down cars, I've anchored down tractors, I've anchored down everything. They're a little bit overkill, but I like them because of the size and the fact that I can slip chains through them real easily. I know a 15,000 pound D-ring is a little bit much for a 10,000 pound trailer, but just to get the size on, be able to fit the chain through them makes them very much worth it. We'll talk about the winch some other time. I didn't film any of that. I was kind of a rush job. The jack here on the front, it's so nice to be able to pick the trailer clean up off of its base without having anything under it, and also to have a jack sturdy enough where I can leave it parked with weight on it. I could leave a truck on this, I could leave a car on this, I could leave a tractor on it, and if I have to park it overnight, I don't have to take it off because the jack will actually hold it. My spare tire mount, what can I say? It works just as intended, just as beautifully as it ever did. We need a new spare tire, which I'm not going to put it on. I'll get somebody else to do that. But at some point we'll get some new tires put on this thing, and we'll do some more major upgrades hopefully later on this spring, maybe in the fall. And back here, more of the same. Everything came together quite nicely. The 1.5 by 3 C-channel tubing, it's not tubing, the C-channel works well with the D-ring mount like I have them. I was worried about having to drive up over them, but let's face it, if I'm putting this on the flatbed trailer, it's probably either four-wheel drive or something I'm not too concerned about tearing it up. You know, it'll get up and over most of this stuff. If I have a 20-foot enclosed trailer, if I gotta haul the Nova or something like that, it works. Form over functions wonderful, and was it worth it? Yes. Would I do it again? Absolutely. And does it work? Flawlessly. But we'll modify this trailer a little bit more in the future. I want to make it longer. I want to make those fenders removable, and maybe do a little bit of other work to it too. We'll put a new deck on it as well. Trailers are timeless. Well, if you keep up with them, they'll last forever and ever and ever. Alright, and that concludes this part of this project.